My next guests are here to perform the latest single from their album, Around the Fur, and you can catch them this summer on the Vans Warped Tour. Please welcome Deftones.
Chino Moreno is an incredibly visual songwriter, and Deftones could certainly trace their sensory wall of noise aesthetic to his writing and vocal style that grabs you and pulls you in. There's a reason people play Deftones when they bang. Chino has said in the past that it's just visual. When I see things, I hear music in my head. When I hear things, I see visuals in my head. I've always been able to marry these two things together. The track Rosemary from Koi no Yokon rattles around in my head every now and then. Every beat sounds so intentional and grounded in the story it tells while still creating this unmatched feeling of freedom. Chino begins the first verse with the lyrics, "There's no sound but the engines drone, our minds set free to roam." This is the first indication that the song is about time travel. Funny enough, when I heard this lyric for the first time, I pictured an engine, as in a train, when it's much more likely that Chino was referring to this kind of engine, of some kind of time machine. But because I find it funny, I'm gonna continue to visualize Chino traveling through time on a steam engine. But he isn't writing alone. He clearly states our minds are set free to roam. He never states who this other person is, but perhaps the name of the song can give us the answer to that. This is, of course, speculation. I'm sure there's some people who would say that obviously Rosemary is the other person, and some people would say that it's a reference to some abstract concept. Either way, the chorus gives us more context. I absolutely cannot get enough of this chorus. The way Chino wails this line over the amped up instrumentation, it feels so impactful after the very calm and steady verse. Moreover, we now know that Chino and presumably Rosemary aren't just traveling through time, but through other planes. This hints at a kind of ascension, either literal or metaphorical, traveling through an impossible plane of existence or non-existence with someone. Our minds bend and our fingers fold, entwined we dream unknown. Minds bending makes me think of the concept of the fourth dimension. A two-dimensional creature such as Pac-Man, for example, could never comprehend the idea of a third dimension. Likewise, a three-dimensional creature such as a human could never comprehend a fourth dimensional space. Quite literally, a higher plane of existence would cause your mind to bend. In the line immediately after this, Chino says, "Our fingers fold, entwined we dream unknown." I think fingers folding means holding hands. Chino and Rosemary hold each other as they experience this new reality together. It makes me think of Azathoth from the Lovecraftian mythos. In the world of Lovecraft, all reality is a dream in the mind of Azathoth, but Azathoth can't comprehend his own dream, and if he wakes up, all reality will cease to exist. I don't think this song is a reference to Lovecraftian horror, but hey, food for thought. Back to the song. Now the chorus returns, but with a second half. I'm not familiar with music structure lingo, so there's probably a term for a second half of a chorus, and I just don't know it. Time shift, we discover the entry to other planes. Stay with me as we cross the empty skies. Come sail with me. To me, this indicates that Chino and Rosemary have furthered along their ascension, calling the skies empty when to most people the skies hold an infinite amount of stars and galaxies. But as they leave behind their previous existence, they begin to lose themselves. Perhaps they're succumbing to the previously mentioned emptiness, fading into the void until they're no longer themselves. Despite this, as they travel through time and space, Chino clings to Rosemary, desperately begging her to stay with him, not just as in their physical presence, but their very identities as human beings. This shares a lot of similarities with the song Nobody from Avenged Sevenfold, a song about death and ascension into godhood, particularly the lines, "I walk with death in final exhalation, and come apart through violent separation. 1,000 floors ascend into the ether, a lunatic enchanted by the Reaper. Down below I leave a stranger laying lifeless as the light begins to shatter the skies, and I ascend and leave behind the used to be and tear the fabric worn to cover my eyes." These are very different songs with very different tones, but the concept of seeing all physical reality as a simplistic and lower form of existence as you ascend into a higher being and not recognizing your own human self, I think is a shared concept between these two songs. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Finally, we get to the third verse. We slow down as the engines stall. Our eyes catch scene, explode. Whatever device or vehicle that Chino and Rosemary were traveling through time with has malfunctioned and exploded. This should have killed them both, but it's too late. Traveling through higher planes of existence, they've already transcended the concept of death itself. We know this because the chorus returns and Chino still chases after Rosemary through time and space itself with no medium to separate them. Time shift, we discover the entry to other planes. Time shift as we collide with the energy in other ways. Stay with me as we cross the empty skies. Come sail with me, we play in dreams. As we cross through space and time, just stay with me. Both Chino and Rosemary have completely succumbed to their ascension. There is no when or where anymore. Time and space are mediums for them to travel and swim through. Despite this, Chino still remembers Rosemary and their connection still remains. They're entwined beyond any form of physical reality, and they travel through infinity together.